Welcome to the Sage Advice Podcast, transforming the way people think and work so their organizations can thrive. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and today's episode is cut from another podcast of which I am the co-host, The Soul of Enterprise, which is also sponsored by Sage. The Soul of Enterprise is dedicated to belief that business has a spiritual, though not necessarily religious, component. I hope you enjoy this excerpt. If you do, please visit www.thesoulofenterprise.com for more. It took, 3,296 years to develop a treatment for smallpox, polio over 3,000 years, cholera over 2,000 years, measles 1,500 years, rubella 350 years. But then you get down to where we are today, AIDS 15 years, Ebola from, I guess, the time of the really bad outbreak in 2013, not the discovery of the disease, but from 2000, only 5 years till the vaccine. It really is just amazing.
Yeah, not only so the speed with which we are able to tackle these problems or attempt to tackle these problems is obviously speeding up dramatically. Ebola has been around in Africa since the 70s, but as you say, because it really wasn't a threat to the West, our scientists didn't start working on it until the outbreak in 2014, 2015. And since then, really, it took only 4 or 5 years before we had a vaccine against Ebola. Now, HIV/AIDS, HIV is a difficult one. We still don't have a vaccine. However, we do have drugs which people take to moderate the virus and also to prevent catching the virus. So the time that expired from the moment we realized we had a serious problem with HIV, which was 1980, to the time when the first antiretroviral drugs came on the market really was 15 years. By mid-1990s, people could start taking drugs which still had very bad side effects, but kept people alive. The speed is increasing, and I suspect that it will increase even more because, of course, we are now able to break down the genetic code of a virus or a bacterium at a much faster speed than we used to before with things like CRISPR. That wasn't a problem with regard to COVID. It wasn't really finding out what this virus consists of. The problem was that the speed of developing vaccines really was stuck a few decades behind. We really haven't made much progress in speeding up the creation of vaccines and then trying them out, making sure that they are safe. So that was the bottleneck, really. The bottleneck wasn't finding out what the virus was. The bottleneck was speeding up the process of vaccines. But of course, we got burned here. But that also means that looking into the future, we'll know where the bottlenecks are, and we'll be able to address it, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Ron and I are big fans of Russ Roberts' podcast, and he's alluded to a couple times on his show that what we're going to see as a result of all of the things that's happened because of COVID-19 it's really glorious. I mean, he's predicting that it's going to be amazing, the technologies that grow out of this, even if it's not directly related to COVID.
Yes, often, look, progress cannot happen without problems first springing up, and humanity then needing to put its mind behind solutions. So, there first has to be a problem for it to be solved. Now the problem has arisen, and we are going to hopefully solve it. For more Sage advice, visit and subscribe at sageadvicepodcast.com.